Welcome to the March 19th, 2018 Advance Report for McGowan Group Asset Management clients and NetWorthRadio.com listeners. First, we're going to cover the sea change in the equity market. Here's the Dow and its beautiful rally. That came to an end. Now we believe you're in a trading range, but most of this week the Dow spent around 25,000 plus or minus. There were many explanations. Every time the Dow went down 300, the financial media went straight to trade wars and White House chaos. We're going to shed some light on that from a rational perspective with real data today. Likely stuck in a trading range from 23,000 to 26,000 and change. That's our current read on the behavior, especially since we closed the week at 25,000. You've heard interest rates are going up. Well, the T-bill, in fact, went to the highest level since the crisis this week, 1.74%. And of course, this is just a one-year T-bill, but you can see a relentless increase concurrent with the Federal Reserve raising interest rates. Now we look at the 30-year Treasury. And the 30-year Treasury is actually down in the interest rate, 3.08, 3.09%, about the same interest rate as we had a year ago. This rate is actually down a little bit, and the T-bills have gone up. So it's short rates up, long rates down. Strategy implications for investors in fixed income and even equity, we're going to cover in the long play program. Just go to networthradio.com. Next. Is 20 trillion in debt too much? Well, let's put it in context because we hear so much about the debt. Well, if we look at liabilities of 15 trillion, total assets 112 trillion. This is a nice JP Morgan Federal Reserve Bank report here. What you see is household net worth topped at 68 trillion in 07, and right now household net worth $100 trillion. Wow, that's actually a huge increase from the peak of 07. And at the same time, you look at where that $100 trillion is invested. Pension funds about 20 trillion, financial assets about 41 trillion, houses about 24 trillion. Puts it in context. At some interest rate, $20 trillion would go to buy treasuries at the right interest rate. Are we dependent on foreigners? This household net worth says no. Dollar. You've heard about the dollar falling. We go back to 2011, they said, oh, the dollar's going to get crushed. End of America was a big campaign, and inflation was going to drive us to ruin because the Fed was profligate. Dollar rallies to all-time highs, and since then we've moderated to about 90. This starts to give us trade advantage versus 105 on the dollar index, and you start to see greater export capability of U.S. price competitiveness. What's it going to do? Let's take a quick look at the next chart. This is the trade deficit. There's a big concern there. You've heard trade wars are bad and the Dow would drop on every political announcement. No, not so, really. But this is the big concern. Mexico, for example, charges a 16% tariff on every good, including agricultural. They put it on chickens, even. So here, you've got a concern about the trade deficit. And Alex Tolene will join me in this week's program. We'll cover more about that and the net impact on the overall economy and how it relates to the 20 trillion in debt. That's the big concern. And unfair trade, where there's tariffs of 15 to 25%, Mexico, China, and other trading partners, well, it's probably a healthy thing longer term to address this imbalance. I'm Spencer McGowan, President, McGowan Group Asset Management, NetWorthRadio.com for the long play program. Come down to the Crescent, meet the team that cares in a 1-hour brainstorming session. We will help you plan the future with a vision. Thank you for tuning in today. My firm, McGowan Group Asset Management, sponsors NetWorthRadio.com and, of course, our YouTube channel under McGowan Group. Some educational disclosures and discussions that I wanted to add to the broadcast. The first is, I'm very proud of our team, including Stephen Norris, who will be added as soon as we redo the picture. He's our newest team member. Come down, meet the team that cares, get a written plan, because the securities we discuss, the financial news we discuss, that's not a recommendation until you actually come down and get a customized plan at the Crescent. You'll get a tour, and we look forward to seeing you. We're going to cover value at risk of loss in portfolios, and you can see it right here. Learn about our performance, what happened in 2008, how long did it take to recover. All of those items are posted right here at NetWorthRadio.com or the McGowanGroup.com. The other part of the program, when we look at price fluctuations and bear markets and risk control, that's a huge part of NetWorthRadio.com. We look forward to helping you advance your plan and your cash flow. Come down and meet the team that cares.